Hi, welcome to my channel. Nope. Motherfucker.
A million people in the crowd, but I only see your face in all the lights. And as the bass keep pounding on me, baby, I really wanna make you mine. I don't really care about love. I don't really care about happy ever afters. Something about you gives me hope. Something about you, yeah. When the sun goes down and the night sky's falling, do you believe in one-time lovers? 'Cause deep in
Today I'm just going to be talking about my first impressions with the Mac Mini. I've had it less than 12 hours. First impressions, my first thoughts when it comes to the Mac Mini. In the past I've owned iPads, MacBook Airs, MacBook Pros. I've owned the Intel Core Mac Mini, the one 2018. I've used that to create different types of videos, but I'm not a pro at any level. I'm honestly just some guy. The impressive thing about the Apple Mac Mini 2020 is that Apple created its own chip, the M1. It's a chip that houses all the CPU, the GPU, and the RAM, everything internally built by Apple. So hardware, software, everything is combined into one, and it makes it much more fluid and much faster. So the Mac Mini has an 8-core CPU and an 8-core GPU. So the MacBook Air, the MacBook Pro, and the Mac Mini all house the same M1 chip. They all have different rendering speeds just off the sheer fact that the Air doesn't have a fan, and the Pro and the Mac Mini do have a fan. And since the Mac Mini is more of a desktop, it utilizes its components a little bit better, so it gives you a little bit better in performance. So the Mac Mini has an 8-core CPU and an 8-core GPU, and it comes with either 8 gigs of RAM or 16 gigs of RAM. Just because it's a M1 first generation chip, so it can't really house that power yet. But what I'm finding, because I have an 8-core Mac Mini, is that you really don't need that initially. So Apple actually touts that it's 6 times faster than its Intel counterpart, but that's probably going off of the Intel i3. I wouldn't do the comparisons when it comes to that, but my first thoughts is I've only rendered one video. The M1 chip is really fast. So last night I rendered a video on the Mac Mini Intel i5 2018, and that one actually was a 2-minute and 40-second long video. It rendered at 3 minutes and 45 seconds. So it took about a minute and some change over to actually render the project out. And then when I switched over to the Mac Mini 2020, the M1 chip, that video took less than 30 seconds. So it's faster. So the Mac Mini M1 chip actually comes with a neutral engine, which has 16 different cores, better image processing, and machine learning. That's also housed in the M1 Mac Mini. Again, Apple touts that it's 15 times faster than its Intel counterpart. The MacBook Mini, the MacBook Pro, and the MacBook Air all come pre-installed with Big Sur. So with software and the hardware side of things, this Mac Mini actually flies. It's really quick and adaptive. Again, I have the Mac Mini 2018, and that one kind of hiccups when you're going from screen to screen. For some reason, my mouse lags, whether it's Bluetooth connection or it's hardwired in, and you lose a lot of data when it comes to that. It wasn't really noticeable until I got the brand new Mac Mini, and I could notice basically night and day the difference in speed quality and what Apple can actually do when creating its own chips. So the version I got was the 8GB version, and I'm not seeing any stutters in anything. I usually have multiple things open. So when I'm editing, I usually have Final Cut open, 2 different browsers for Finder. I have the internet open, music in the background. So I have multiple things going, and it's maxed out about 6 gigabytes worth of the RAM. And I haven't had any stutter. So on the MacBook Mini 2018 Intel version, whenever I had multiple layers, when I get past the 3, 4, 5 stage, I had graphics, color grading on it, anything extra on it, it just seemed to lag and drop frame rates, and I would have to go back. But at the end of it, it would be fully smooth and ready to upload. But what I'm finding with this new Mac Mini 2020 M1 chip right out the gate, dropping everything in the timeline, it just flows faster. It just works. There are no drop frame rates. It just seems so natural. The pros that I'm finding with the new Mac Mini is definitely the speed and the price. What it's lacking is Thunderbolt ports, USB-C. It only has 2. So the pros for the new Mac Mini is definitely its speed and its price, but what I'm finding that I need to see if I can adjust with is that there's only 2 USB-Cs opposed to 4 on the Intel version. And with the 4 and the plus the 2 USB on the Intel version, I had that thing fully loaded with everything on it. With this new one, I only have 2 ports, so I'm actually in the process of looking for a docking station in order to help me out with all the additional ports. Again, I can't stress how impressed I am just from the sheer speed of this thing. Being a Mac Mini, it's always the step-headed red child when it comes to the iMac Pro or any of the iMac lines or even the $65,000 configuration that you can put on Apple. It's fast. It's blazing speeds. It's, especially for the price point being only $699 for the base model, which is the one I actually have. I actually unboxed that yesterday. You can definitely go and check it on my channel. But with my points and my first impressions, it's just something to awe at of the future of computing and what it can actually mean. Again, I'm just some guy trying his best.
A million people in the crowd, but I only see your face in all the lights. And